Hello, test 1 2, test 1 2, making sure the audio works as we are coming into the top of the hour ad break. Thank you for joining me along for right now. We got a special day planned, folks. We're gonna see if I can make this happen, and if not, hey, tomorrow's another day. So schedule is down below. Check it out. I'm gonna get some water, and you come back after the ad break. Unless you sub. Hey, any subbers? You got Prime? Take a look down below and see that little blue crown. Say, hey, maybe you click it and say, hey. Spend your Bezos $1 here. Anyway, see ya. Alrighty, ad break has finished, I believe. And so, we shall go. Turn this down a bit. And wabambo. Wow, welcome to another episode of Mog Streams. I'm your host, Mogity. And today's a special day. Down below. I have been an affiliate on this godforsaken hellhole that is Twitch. It's fine. But I've been an affiliate for 2 years now. We started pushing for it at 2024, and if you look at my schedule on my Twitter, I got the date wrong. So I clicked on the wrong thing, and when I made my schedule. So it's been 2 years since we got affiliate. I like to shout out some very special people, Ethics and Ayabu. They really helped me out and pushed and promoted and like rated into me, and I really appreciate that. Little Good Wolf as well. She's a really big supporter. Amaro North Star, he's really good at what he does, and I appreciate him spending a little time with me and helping me out as best he can. And all the folks that supported me along the way. It's been 2 years, and even though I don't stream normally, even though I'm not like the best streamer, the best content creator, the best anything basically, it's fun. It's fun being here in my little island kitchen and this little thing I have here. And I hope I get to do more of this in the future. No matter if I have 0 viewers or 1 viewer or 10 viewers or whatever, I'm still always gonna try my best to be the best me that I can be, and the best whatever you need me to be. It's fun, to be honest, being here. It's always a mix of feelings. If you don't know, I suffer from like large bouts of anxiety and depression, and sometimes it's when I look at my stream and look at the green go live button, it's not a pleasant experience. It's one full of fear for some reason, and then I just click it and it's like, all right, game time. That's the thing you have to do sometimes. Exposure therapy, the hardest thing for everybody out there. The hardest thing is always starting, and sometimes for me, you just give yourself a little push and say, all right, it is going, and I gotta make it go. So enough being sappy. How y'all doing today? I'm doing fine. I'm just chilling. It's been a chill week, just talking to some folks and planning things out for the eventual thing that's gonna happen this week, which is Offkai. If you don't know, I am gonna be at Offkai for the first time. My friend went last year, and he had a grand old time. So I'm like, I want to go too. So I made the decision to skip Anime Expo and a few things, and we are going to Offkai. I'll be heading there on Thursday, checking into a hotel, then doing God knows whatever the rest of the day. Pick up my badge and maybe hang out with friends. I heard there's a rat smoking event happening at night with karaoke and whatever. I don't smoke, but I saw someone bringing candy cigarettes. I'm like, I think smoking's cool, but really bad for you, and I don't think you should ever start smoking. But if you started smoking, what are you gonna do? It is your decision what you do, put it into your body. Your body is a temple, and who am I to say what doesn't or does go into the temple? As for me, I don't find smoking appealing, other than visibly it looks cool. But I wouldn't wanna smoke. Anyways, I'm rambling too much. We got a top of the hour ad break every hour, so I want to see if I get through my main event before that hour going. In any case, there's one thing that we do here before we start every stream, and that is a little bit of Scrandle. If you don't know what Scrandle is a thrilling daily game of food comparisons, in which you get 2 foods in front of you and you pick which one is the most popular. Not the one you like particularly, but what's the most appealing to the world and the nation out there. If you don't know what Scran is a type of stadium food. and I love stadium food. My one regret for this year is I have not been to a ball game or a sporting event. And I am missing out on all the sporting event and ball game food. So maybe before my break is over, we get to do that. Anyways, we got a little bit of the daily scran going on. First thing is first is the bonus round. 1, from Australia, we got the Superfood Bowl. And 2, from England, we got the jerk chicken and rice. Now, you know me. In my old unk age, I'm trying to eat a little bit healthy. But when I'm on a stadium, give me that jerk chicken. Even though it might be a little bit too saucy, but it got some rice in it. Alright, here we go. It's my affiliate anniversary, meaning we are going to get 10 out of 10. First things first, from Wales, meatball chips, peas and gravy versus this chicken shawarma. At the World Cup, recently, thing of it is though, that shawarma looks kind of dry. Meatballs. Can we go back? The beer bat versus the burger. Look at that mid ketchup trap. Is that insane? Burger. Okay, we ain't doing so hot. Alright, pork katsu with rice versus chips. Pork katsu. Alright, that one's easy. Alright, we're not gonna get any more wrong this time. Fish and chips, peas and gravy. Fish and chips, obviously. These are good high quality pictures. The last what happened? That's not good. At least these potatoes are free from the great grave of King Frederick II of Germany. Fried chicken, you win. Sorry, free potatoes. Sometimes you can beat free. Pot meat rectangular pizza versus chicken curry and chips. Chicken curry and what the heck? There's not even like cheese on it. They always say always put cheese. Anyways, Chinese chicken and skewers versus homemade banana bread and chocolate. Let's go China. China time of my life. 80% people Chinese. Speaking of Chinese chicken curry pie. You know it has to be from Europe. And the chicken and chips. Now one looks more appealing than the other, but the other one's Chinese. You have to do it. I'm sorry, China. Box of popcorn versus a foot-long hot dog from America. At the Blue Moon though, has to be hot dog. You know, it's also to have popcorn, even in a movie theater. Alright. Pie, liquor, and mash. I don't know what it is with liquor. Liquor doesn't seem very appealing. Even like the way that it's like textured to. It's like kind of like webbing over the pie. You know, gotta go with the sauce hot dogs. Whoa! No! Dang, dude. A scranner who should have tried. I can't accept this. It's over for me. I'm not a scranner this week. I'm not a food man of the people. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I had to see me like this. What are you gonna do? You know, sometimes what's good for a lot of people isn't the best. And I like to think I have a refined palate, refined eye for foodery. And I like to think it is the people that are wrong, not me, the people. Wow. What are you gonna do? Scran's hard. Hard scran. Hey. Alright. So, we are in Just Chatting for a reason. And that reason is today I'm gonna see what happens or just try out for the first time ever a Mogity Lectures or Mogity Teaches or whatever fancy name I will decide to give this segment. So, we're gonna just jump right on it. Time's a wasting. Again, thank you for joining me at so far. Doing a little bit of scran. And we're gonna try to see if we could try to get through this top of the hour. Also, if you don't know, this website is called WeatherStar. And I love it. I love it so. Anyways, we are gonna get rid of this. So then we could do this. Ready? Wabam! Wow. Wow. I need myself to monitor. So Welcome to another, or the very first installment of Mog Lectures, or Mog Teaches, where I like to teach things. If you don't know, I'm an educator as a day job, so that's why I only shoot in summer. My name is Magadi Reyes, and I am here to teach you a little bit about the classical saxophone, or Classical Saxophone 101, presented by me. That's me. By Magadi. So, enjoy this presentation. And I cannot cover everything about classical saxophone all in one go. So, here's just a little bit of a primer about just the origins of a saxophone, where it came from, where it go, where it should be, followed by the great father of classical saxophone, and we're just gonna do some listening towards the very end. Wait, I'm supposed to be recording this. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Just in case like the VOD gets like muted or like everything explodes. So I'm gonna hit record and I'm gonna try that introduction one more time. Rewind. Hello. This is a very special installment of Mogady Streams in which Mogady Lectures. I'm your host, Mogady Reyes. And we are going to learn today a little bit about the classical saxophone. Now, I cannot teach everything about classical saxophone and saxophoning all in one go. So this is basically considered classical saxophone 101, in which I will explain a little bit about the history of the saxophone, where it came to be, and also a little bit of the father of classical saxophone as we know it. And at the very end, we're going to do some listening, some good examples, and then, I'll leave you with some people if you want to listen to, classical saxophone. I love classical saxophone. I think it's a very wonderful niche genre. Can you believe it's only been like less than 100 years of this genre basically existing? So it's a very, in a way, compared to all the other instruments out there, a new tradition. A new tradition of music making. But I think saxophone's a really beautiful instrument. A little bit about me. I've been playing saxophone for well over 18 years, I guess, at this point. And I studied in college classical saxophone as well. And although it wasn't very popular, it's something that I grew to love and hate and love at the same time. Welcome, Bon Bon. Welcome to the stream, Saxophone Raw. Yes, sir. So, if you want to learn about saxophone, come join me on this very adventure in which we will go over a little bit before the top of the hour ad break. So, please work. There you go. Good. All right. So I'm going to try to go through this. This is my first time doing this, so eventually it'll get a whole lot better. But one thing I like to start with anything is, just understanding historical context of the world. And we are going to travel back all the way to the 1800s, where lots of things happen, including wars, a lot of post-war stuff. So the French Revolution's really important. The American Revolution's really important. Things like the 7-Year War and other conflicts around Europe and Africa and, parts of Asia and whatnot. It was a tumultuous time at the 1800s, going into the 1800s. Along going with that, the Industrial Revolution. There was a lot of changes in society, from the economics to the way we manufacture to like political things and like societal things and whatnot. Children working in factories. Well, we don't want to talk about that. There's a lot of changes happening in society and in the music world. Transitions between the classical period of music into the more expressive, romantical style of the Romantic era, emotional style. So with classical music, it could be typically characterized as a little bit formulaic and a little bit by the books in a way. There's a certain thing people expect when they go out and listen to music and like see a orchestra or like see chamber musicians play. It's just a certain thing you want to expect. And then with the Romantic era, you see the influence and like the things that start to break away a little bit. So from people like Beethoven, who would be, I think, considered a little bit of classical, then post-classical, um, to people like Saint-Saëns in France, Mahler in Germany, and like Tchaikovsky all the way in Russia. One thing too, like the style of music, Western music, is already a little bit divided into like different nationalities, like things you could expect to hear. But in the Romantic era, it kind of like branched off even more, where like you could tell there's like really, really big stylistic differences between French to Germanic to Russian to like English and whatnot. Um, so that's really cool. His painting's really cool too. By Carl Rockman, The Ruins of the Imperial Palaces in Rome, about 1831. I think it's really cool to seeing this this whole piece of like these watercolors and there's ruins of Rome and whatnot. But then the choice of leaving the rest of it kind of like unfinished, almost like changing in a way. Art's cool. I think the best thing if you ever want to be really good at context in terms of like history and whatnot, it's like we look through the arts and then look at the music. What's popular around then? Speaking of then, what's popular is well, not he wasn't that popular. But I'm here to teach you a little bit about the history of the saxophone. This man over here, his name is Adolf Sax, or Adolf, born in 1814 in Dignan, which is now Belgium. He grew up around his instrument making father and learned singing, the flute, and clarinet before being an apprentice for his dad. His dad was an instrument maker. Um, he, I think, started like factories and then started like production lines and whatnot. But the interesting thing about him is that his mother is quoted saying, "He's a child condemned to misfortune. He will not live." Rough things to say from your mother to a child. But I think slowly deep down he knew. And around his town, he was known as Little Sax or the Ghost. And you want to know why? Here are some reasons why the saxophone never existed. Adolf Sax was a very troubled, he's not a troubled kid, but somehow accidents and somehow misfortune has fallen upon him. What a cursed child. Here are some reasons why the saxophone never existed. Before the age of 28, in 1846, when he invented saxophone, these are some things. He 1. Fell down 3 flights of stairs as a young child. 2. Drank sulfuric acid. 3. Swallowed a large needle. 4. Contacted measles. 5. Had a barrel of gunpowder explode near him. 6. Fell onto a burning stove. 7. Saved from nearly drowning in the local river. Someone found him face down in the local river. And it's like, well, that seems bad. We better go get him. He had a brick fall on him. And finally, one of the other ones, he slept in a room with freshly varnished furniture. And about, varnish, back then in the 1800s, they didn't have OSHA. They didn't have regulations, really. So the fumes were very toxic. The furniture looked good, but the fumes were very toxic. Very unfortunate indeed. The saxophone almost never existed. And even in this later age, he has also befallen a whole bunch of misfortunes as well. But we are so glad that he stuck through it and was like this kind of like impervious child to all these things. I feel like I could only survive like 2 of these before succumbing to whatever. So sax and the saxophone moves to France. Adolf had created a few instruments before the saxophone, one being the saxhorn, which later influenced conical brass instruments. A lot of the instruments of yore, were cylindrical, meaning if you were to, it's really easy to see. But a flute and a clarinet, it's just one straight line, one straight cylinder is going all the way through. If you even take a trumpet, where you just take the tubing and then you just stretch it all the way out, it is also cylindrical. There are instruments that are conical, meaning if you stretch it out, It just expands and slowly expands all the way to the very ends of the instrument. French horn is one of the most popular conical instruments, and that's how it gets this kind of like warm, luscious sound. So the sax horn influenced other brass instruments. One called the flugelhorn, which is the conical brass instrument. That sounds really cool. If you've ever heard of what is it? What's his name? Oh God, I'm blanking on his name. The King of the Hill character. That's not his name. Chuck Mangione. He plays the flugelhorn. And he has just a restless sound. What else? Euphonium also was influenced by the sax horn. It's very conical and it's really cool. It's an anime called Euphonium, Sound Euphonium, and you should watch it if you love band and symphonic instruments. So him being a clarinetist, he patented the first mouthpiece or first saxophone in 1846. An instrument combining the mouthpiece of a clarinet with the body of brass. At first, this instrument was popular with military bands, but not so much with the orchestra because the early patents and early saxophones, they were kind of a little bit wonky. So it wasn't the favorite to put into an orchestra, but because of its brassicity, it fell into the hands of the military. Sound Euphonium was a really good show. And I wanted to rewatch it, but I only have so much time for anime. But they did. I've heard the recap movies are really good. Yeah, and I watched it as it was airing, and it's like super. I was super into it because I am a bandy. So with that, later in life, Sax would be set with many other misfortunes as well, causing him to declare bankruptcies not once, not twice, but almost 4 times. With the fourth one, he was saved by the, I think, King of France or whatever, government of France the last time. And then he ultimately died in poverty. But we appreciate and we love Mr. Sax because he has given us an instrument which I believe totally changed music forever. And if you disagree, well, say goodbye to jazz, say goodbye to rock and roll, say goodbye to all those things. Without those things, you wouldn't have, the music that we have and love today. So, that's a little bit about saxophone. The introduction to saxophone. There are many different things I could talk about, but we only have so much time here. So, let me introduce you to the Paris Conservatory of Music. Very old painting, but it's just a big old building where musicians, basically it's just a really big music college. But oftentimes you'll find that a lot of the French traditions really stuck with this big old conservatory and really, really solidified prolonging the French tradition ways. So, here is, if you saw my thumbnail, the guy in the picture. He is the father of classical saxophone as we know it. His name is Marcel Mule. While Adolphe Sax served as the first professor of the saxophone in 1858 to 1871 at the Conservatoire de Paris. 40 years, no. It's almost like, I can't do math. So it's 3 plus 4. 70 years later, a gentleman by the name of Marcel Mule served as the second professor of saxophone in 1942. They basically changed deanship. They changed the administration around the 1940s. And I was like, hey, why don't we add saxophone back into this conservatory? And he's considered the father of classical saxophone. He learned how to play clarinet and ultimately then saxophone in military bands. Growing up, and he just became just really skilled at what he did. And he just used this instrument to propel the instrument into a brand new style and a brand new tradition, which become the solid founding stone of how we know French saxophone style, French classical style today. There are 3 little things I want to show you about classical saxophone. There are many different little intricacies. But for a general broad understanding, there are three different things that I want to talk about: vibrato, something called a dark tone, and then the ultimate technique of the saxophone. One of them, the first one being vibrato. The basic definition is a change in pitch over time. Normally, if you ever listen to classical clarinet, before you would play it straight with no vibrato. Vibrato is kind of like a choice you can make with any kind of instrument, basically. Learn Marcel Mule learned vibrato through playing pop jazz at the time, so that's around the 30s, even the 20s. He just learned said these jazz musicians are like, hey, these cats are doing really cool hip things. Um, and then just to do vibrato on saxophone, you have to say the word yeah, yeah, a whole bunch of different times, like this. Yeah, 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 yeah. So that's how I learned how to do vibrato on saxophone. The one reason why it's just really important as a musician, and especially following over musical concepts and tradition. Vibrato is a natural musical thing found in natural music. For example, when you sing, oh, naturally your voice wants to give a little vibrato, meaning not just but and then going really fast. Just try it out in the shower. It is a very natural thing. And now when you start to introduce unnatural things, being man-made instruments, sometimes people will build instruments or just build that sound just to mimic the human voice. For example, when the very first string instruments were invented, a lot of string inventors and like music people wanted to really mimic the sound and tone of the human voice. So high voices and low voices and whatnot. So what they do, just to help mimic that long, sustained vibrato, is they take their finger and just wiggle a little bit on the string as they pluck or as they bow it. When they got to orchestral instruments other than the strings, so bassoon and like oboe and like clarinet and like flutes and stuff like that. Oftentimes they play their stuff straight, meeting with no vibrato, and they leave the vibrato to either the strings or just, how naturally vibrato can be formed when you have multiple musicians playing with each other. They're not always 100% in tune, so there's a little bit of fluctuation, but that helps that like a natural vibrato happen. Now with the saxophone, you can control it a lot, and it's like kind of like really a choice. When they play a sustained note, you can just play it straight, or you can play with a lot of vibrato. And with this little diagram here, can I do it? I'm like discovering like new things I could do with my presentation software. So like deep and slow. If you don't know, music is in waves. Deep and fast. Shallow and slow. And very subtle. And shallow and fast. And things like that. Again, we use this as a way to express our musicality and just make it really more emotional. Who knew that changing your pitch multiple seconds at a time could make you just be like a real tearjerker? It's like, oh, so beautiful. He's changing pitch really fast and really slow, and it tugs on my heartstrings. But we'll get to see a little bit of musical examples of that. But if you're ever on a saxophone and want a vibrato, first you got to get your good embouchure, and then you just say yeah, 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 just like that. Go fast and slow and just practice that. Number 2, we have something called a dark tone. Tone in music refers to just sound in the broad sense of things. And one of the big things is how can you recognize different instruments? For example, an oboe playing and like a trumpet playing and a clarinet playing, because they have different tones. And different musicians too. People like, I don't know, Miles Davis and Louis Armstrong, 2 trumpet players. If you listen to them back to back, you realize you can kind of like recognize how one sounds like and the other sounds like. There are many things that affect tone. affect the sound of any kind of wind instrument or any kind of instrument in general, which is one, air and breath support. How well you could use your lungs and how well you could use air going through the instrument. Two, centering of a pitch. Um, if you have a tuner, or if you just know things about music, music has like a very specific scientific measurement to be considered that pitch or that note. For example, if you consider 440 hertz, if you know what that means, it'll always be an A note. And then you can always go above it and below it, but that is the measurement of that A note, or what we consider A in Western music. So setting that pitch just means making sure that I'm playing that pitch in tune, or in tune as best I can, and just really honing in on that. In Without a tuner world, I mean, just getting rid of the tuner, right? If I play a certain pitch and then you play a certain pitch, there might be some differences if you don't have good ear. But just being able to center it and also like being able to adjust on the fly on that pitch can really affect how that note sounds and how that note sounds consistently. Next thing is your embouchure, which is the ellipse on the mouthpiece and how to position your mouth, where your tongue is placed with voicing. For example, all the vowels A, E, I, O, U. You can sing on a pitch I, E, I, O. That is the same pitch, but I'm changing my mouth shape and I'm changing where my tongue goes. So it's a little different, and it's just equipment. Different materials, different ways things are intricately designed and engineered. This offers slight differences, but the main one is always just the air breath support. And finally, technique. Technique is just simply the way being able to play your instrument properly. This is what musicians should practice, or at least should practice. And modern saxophones at high levels is very demanding in a way I believe that is different than other instruments. Every instrument has a technique. Every instrument has its high levels. And I think at the high level element is where you start to see the really extremes of the instrument and where it could go. Because the instrument is very similar to clarinet. Clarinet has some really cool fast finger movements and things you could do. But it has like the power of a brass instrument, meaning it could be louds, and it goes softs. But it's like it's really hard to get a little bit through everything. Umami, welcome in. Happy affiliate anniversary. Thank you. I was saying this earlier, but I think you're one of my big supporters for helping get affiliate 2 years ago. So always shouts out to you. So technique on saxophone. It is hard. It is rough. It almost made me want to quit. Oh, what the heck? Thank you so much for the biddies. I didn't know they had this heart thing. That's super cool. But I really appreciate it. All these bits and subs and whatnot are going through. I'm basically going to donate them to a music organization. So thank you for supporting me, and thank you for supporting them as well. Yippee! Yippee indeed. We're almost to the listening portion, so you have that. But these are the really big keys of, I think, what makes saxophone a saxophone, and you'll get to hear a little bit as well. So hopefully, I'm recording this, and hopefully the font doesn't explode, because we are going to be going through some listening, because what is a music lecture without a little bit of listening? So here is my man, Marcel Mule, the father of saxophone, and we'll get to listen to what saxophone sounded like back in the 1950s. Now, to prefix this as well, jazz was well underway. Symphonic band-ish was well underway. I think more military bands at this time. I don't know. This is not too early, or not too far in the past. So this is like less than 100 years old in a way. But all the three things you'll hear me talk about: vibrato, you get to hear that, his tone and his technique. And this is low enough or short enough where I think we can play the whole thing. But this is classical saxophone. This is this piece called Caprice in Forme de Valse by Dono. If you can tell, it is French, and it is French as heck. Some classical pieces are accompanied, meaning there's a piano or like an orchestra, but some pieces are just solo pieces. And I think this piece shows a really good way of demonstrating that. So let's take a listen. Hopefully this tune is going to take it down. This was recorded in the 50s for a demonstration for a college for there you go. But you hear that technique in there, right? Fingers so fast. And a little bit of that vibrato. But you can hear every note so clearly. Why not add some drums? Just a little bit quiet here. Material you've heard before. That's an insane run. There's that classic mule vibrato. Exactly, there's that technique. And you can hear every individual note. It's like it's so well timed. Does play quiet, he's so well supported. Yay! So that's like a pretty advanced classical saxophone music piece, Caprice. In Forme de Valse So I think it's a song in waltz form. But that's Marcel Mule actually playing. One of the intricacies of him, especially from the students that he had, was that he, when like doing saxophone studio, meaning all these saxophonists in a college or university meet together and perform for one another. In his saxophone studio, when he needed to perform or demonstrate something, he just took someone else's saxophone. It might be unsanitary, but it's okay. It was different in French. It was different in the French tradition. One thing, my teacher studied with someone who studied under Marcel Mule, making me kind of like a second generation of of his students. Um, he would tell me that they just smoke in the classroom all the time. Smoke breaks, and it's like crazy. It's like smoking while being a wind player. Times were a lot different back then. But he would just take other people's saxophone and just play them, and it's like it is, not really. In a way, it's the instrument, but it's not the instrument that makes you. It's like you yourself as a musician. So there's that. It's really cool. People modern days, or I just read in comments of like how his vibrato is kind of like divisive because it's so like fast. And I like it as a style personally. I can't like replicate it all the time. Because I think, as you can see here, his name is Jean-Marie Lando. One of his students, one of his most popular students, he helped also push the classical saxophone. And I just had a lot of pieces composed for him. Just increasing classical saxophone literature. But you could tell he is Marcel Mule's student because the way he vibratos, but he's also like not doing it as fast as him. He's like has these differences in which he plays. So this is Scaramouche by Milhaud, originally composed for alto saxophone and piano, but kind of like debuted with like a piano-ish duet. Yes, Scaramouche. Yeah. He is he is considered the first harbinger. Just kidding. I think Scaramouche means something Italian that I can't think of right now. But it's also kind of like a folk dance. This is a 4-movement piece, and this is a piece of incidental music, meaning music that is made specifically for like something. This is specifically for like an opera or a play. I think it's a play. But you'll hear a lot more melodic, playful playing, and you'll hear just the influences the French classical style had on saxophoning. So take a listen. Little jaunty. But there's that technique, a well-supported dark sound. All those jumps and octaves. Very cheery and smooth. Again, this would be incidental music, so you're supposed to imagine like a play happening. Those like little subtle vibratos. I love this part. But there's that vibrato. back to old material, but just a little bit different. A little, a little troublesome. Yay! So that's the first movement out of 4, and I think it just really showcases again that technique, and just the influence that Marcel Mule had on vibrato, and just the classical French style, where like everything was like, well timed. And everything was like, even though it's like expressive, and even though there's like a lot of changes that happen in terms of different parts of the music, it was all so well thought in a way, where your fingers are placed to like, hey, I should be playing in this way and like in this way, and I think that's like a characteristic of French music in general, where even though you could do just a lot of like be really expressive in this new era and this new way, and the pieces demand for that. It's still, I think well thought out, and it's like really well developed too. Da-da-dum. All right, it's getting a little bit late, so we're gonna do some karaoke pretty soon. Anyways, here's the last thing I want to show, which is Rhapsody for a Saxophone. So we're gonna play the introduction a little bit. One thing about Debussy, we love a Debussy in this house. One thing about pianists and like saxophone music is that sometimes the piano part is really, really demanding. And when he had college students trying to play these pieces while also focusing on their own work, they kind of resented or feared the saxophone department. So it's really intense. One thing about this piece too, Debussy hated the saxophone. Debussy wanted nothing to do with the saxophone. This man is like, I do not want to write for this. I don't like how it sounds, but he was paid big bucks to do so. So then he created one of the, I think, standard repertoire of a saxophone. Yeah, he really didn't like it. He didn't like it so much that this is supposed to be an orchestrated piece, and then he's like, I don't want to write the orchestration. So a lot of hands you get, if you get your hands on this music, it'll say it's orchestrated by someone else. But this guy, Valentin Kovalev, Russian, I think. I think he's one of my favorite modern players. This is super cool. But you can see how the vibrato evolves over time. Connects. Exactly. Not saying it's always the case. Well, sometimes when you commission art, and it's like, I don't really want to do this. But you have to be a professional. And Debussy was kind of a professional. He shouldn't have said that he hated the saxophone. What are you gonna do? But this theme shows up. It's a good piece. I played this for my senior recital in college, and it was hard. So I'm gonna skip ahead to my favorite part, which is you get this whole like development section, and then it goes back to kind of like this theme. So there they're here. technique stuff, fast fingers. But you know how I say the vibrato is supposed to mimic the human voice. See how he sings through that thing? And I love this part. I like the piano version better than the orchestrated version. I think there's too much in the orchestrated version. But this one. That's like a playfulness between the accompaniment. But hear that vibrato though. I think that's the hallmark of France, France. Francois. Okay, we're gonna skip all the way to the end. Big finish. So it's the way he articulates every note too. That's some great romantic writing. Yay! That's also something I really appreciate, especially about Debussy, where I think any other composer will like do like a big fell swoop, and it's like whoop, like some arpeggio that goes all the way up and whatnot. But there's restraint. There's restraint in Debussy's writing. There's restraint in writing this piece, and it's just really one of the hallmarks of classical saxophone. That is Rhapsody for alto saxophone, and it is so good. I could got this even more. I would love to listen to the entire piece because it's getting late, and I'm supposed to do saxophone karaoke, and I'm gonna have to end it early. Whoops. There'll be more saxophone karaoke in the future, but yeah. Oh, why is it not showing in my alerts? There you go. Thank you for the sub, Umami. You didn't have to do it, but I really appreciate it. Big finish. And speaking of that is... Oh my god. No. Aw, thank you so much, Umami. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the gift subs. Welcome, new subbers. Oh, Jesus. I never had a hype train before. So I never set up these alerts properly. I never think I ought to get one. But hey! And that's classical saxophone. But thank you. I really appreciate it. I need to look back at my saxophone. Forget soft and slowly. Thank you. So that's all I have for this little presentation. Saxophones for future listening. If you want to listen to really old classic saxophonists, Jean-Marie Landau, Eugene Rousseau, Frederick Hemke, and then Daniel Defayette. For modern ones that I really enjoyed, I never started the hype train before. It's your first time too. Yay! A time for first. It's my first time doing a lecture here. Modern saxophoning, Timothy McAllister, still alive today. Otis Murphy, Nobuya Sagua, Nobuya Sagua, and Valentin Kovel. You heard him earlier. Maybe future topics we want to consider, if I ever do this again, is oh, look at them dancing. Maybe do some saxophone chamber pieces and quartets. Talk about them. Talk about saxophone ragtime, a really important tradition in all of classical saxophoning. Musical pieces and composer deep dives, and maybe that. If you really enjoy this content, maybe I'll be motivated enough to do that. Well, an ad is starting soon, and I did my job, which is try to complete this before the ad break. After the ad break, we are gonna come back. Music crash course time. I would love to do some like music theory stuff too. Just really basic stuff. Understanding the audience. The audience is kind of like for non-musicians in a way, or like people that have done music in some time of their life, and it's like, hey, I remember that, or I didn't know about that. So maybe one day in the future. So there's that, and that's all saxophoning. Again, saxophone is my love. Saxophone is my passion. I love classical saxophone. I listen to classical saxophone like a few times a week. I never had music theory thick for me, so I look forward to that. I will make it click. I will make you understand it. Oh, welcome, rhythm player Vin. Welcome, Vin. Thank you for joining us. Unfortunately, it is almost the ad break. We listen to a bunch of saxophone stuff in here. And then hopefully we could, if you ever want to learn about Classical Saxophone 101, check out the VOD. But so glad you're here. Enjoy your stay. Enjoy your rest. Maybe leave fun fact. After the ad break, we are going to go into saxophoning, but it's kind of getting late and people in my household have to go to work. So maybe I'll play like 3 songs out of the 10 I planned. The sexy saxes will return again. So I was also kind of like in charge of saxophones in high school, and I gave us the name to Sexy Saxes. So that is maybe I'll bring it back somehow. Anyways, ad starting soon. So thanks for joining us. If you have any questions on the saxophone, now's your time to ask it before I go to BRB and then switch out for the karaoke part. To try to bring go and clock into work. Have fun at work. If anyone gives you trouble, tell me and I'll beat them up for you. But enjoy. Hope your work will be good. And, if not, you do try your best. I believe in you. Never gonna try it again. That's basically it. If you don't know, I use PowerPoint to do my slides. It's the thing that I'm like most intimate and most thing about. I love PowerPoint. PowerPoint 100%. Have fun karaoke dropping. We'll see. It's getting kind of late for me if you look down at the time over there. But you can always check back in the VOD. I love to do these kind of karaoke things. Specifically at anniversary stuff. But thank you. I'll probably clip it and put it on my Twitter too. Cool. So ads are starting. I cannot stop it. It'll be a beautiful train. I will come back and then we'll be in a different scene. And yeah. So enjoy your break. See you in 3 minutes. Get some stretches, get some walk-in. I'm going to use the bathroom. So see you in a bit. Thank you. Da-da-dum. Oh god, I can't switch. There we go. No, that's the wrong button. No! Hi, bye. Okay, I know the ad break isn't over, but I need to set this up. Right here. Wow, it is me in this lonely green zone. Alright, we gotta do this. So we need to... I painstakingly did this so that it should work and should be in sync. And if not, well, too bad. I'm gonna fix it eventually. But when ad break's over, we're gonna start our first song. It's like a little late for me. And I don't wanna like be a nuisance. I'll hear that. Picking up vibrato. What if I do this? I get the saxophone and I'm gonna put it here already, and that way my track can go. Wow. Are we good? So what's also gonna happen is that I'm gonna turn off this microphone when I play, and we should be good. Alright, hopefully this works out. If not, I'm gonna cry, but it's okay. We are gonna start off with our first song. I might like stop playing midway through. Let's play the beginning of Plights' songs. We're gonna try our best in this house as we make it through everything. So we're gonna finish off with a few songs, and you're gonna have to excuse me if I get notes wrong because I am doing this in the most skillful way as possible, in which I have my music and the computer in front of me and I can't really monitor myself. So we're gonna try our best, and afterwards you tell me that I'm doing a bad job and throw tomatoes at me, but it'll be fine. Our first song of the night is there you go. Try our best. Ready? Happy affiliate anniversary to me! I forgot to mute. Hold on. Happy affiliate anniversary to me! The way the sheet music's written, kind of like a little bit confusing. What you gotta do? Let's go do two more, and then I think I have to call it quits. I wish I could play a lot more. What are you gonna do? Let's do this. This, and then this. My capture on. Da-da-da-dum. You're gonna try our best, alright? You could throw tomatoes at me later. Alright, ready? Actually, one of my favorite things. Oh, thank you, Bon Bon. All right, I have mistimed this nice celebration of music, so I think I only had time for one more, and that'll be it. We have to end on my absolute favorite, which is I always gotta end karaoke with this, dude. Hope you're enjoying it. When I come back, I'm gonna promise another saxophone karaoke that is well timed. I swear. There we go. We're gonna pull it up. That's my last song for tonight. Thank you for joining me in my dumb little rant about saxophone. There you go. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. It is my 2nd year anniversary, and honestly, you know, Saxophone was so insightful. Thank you. I would love to do more topics, some music related stuff and whatnot. Tell your friends. The saxophone might have never existed because Adolf Sax pretty much almost died 7 or 8 times. Anyways, this will be our last song for tonight because people gotta go to sleep. And I promise, when I come back after Upkai, we'll do another one of these just to make up for what an abysmal planning for this thing. Anyways, enjoy our last song from the best girl ever. I messed up the ending. But it's fine. That's how you know it's live, folks. Anyways, thanks for joining me. I gotta go. It's too late. I had like 7 more songs planned, but it is 9 and people will have work tomorrow. So what's next? After I will be off, and then I'll probably be back on Monday if I'm not too tired. I'm going to Offkai this weekend, if you don't know. It's this convention in San Jose, which is the meeting of the VTubers. So, watch my Twitter. I'll be documenting a lot of stuff. And if you're out there, let's hang out. Take one of my business cards. I have too many. My goal every single day is to get rid of 10 business cards. If I can do that, I think I got it. Have fun on Offkai. Thank you, Bon Bon. Maybe one day in the future you could join us, and maybe one day in the future we could hang out some other time. But until then, I will try my best to have fun, meet some folks. But thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining this lecture stuff, and I just wanted to carry you one day. That for sure. Looking forward to it. Be on the lookout for tomorrow. I got a nice song for y'all. Hopefully the karaoke stuff is clippable. You're also probably getting double audio from the my Behringer, which is the microphone DAW that I'm using. Let's go. I'm gonna mute it. Why not? I'm gonna mute it. There you go. Ugh. Technically, I don't have to end, but I have nothing else planned. I gotta put this thing back before I drop it in. So I'll check out the VOD, see how it goes. I'll just gonna call it quits. I have some things I need to pack anyways and whatnot. Is he still streaming? I have a friend who's going to Offkai. Oh, he is. He's doing his planning. Wow. I don't want to bother him. He's fine. Anyways, I'm gonna end stream. Thank you for joining me on this lovely affiliate night. And if you're watching the VOD, you missed out. Join me live. Just kidding. I know I don't. I don't go on to the bestest times. Anyways, I'm gonna be out. I gotta clean up some stuff and pack up some stuff and maybe even start really packing. Ooh. All right. Later, folks. Happy affiliate anniversary to me, and see y'all next time. Bye. All right, Klonoa. Did I do good? And that's better, Wahoo. Oh. Wait, hold on. There you go. Klonoa, did I do good? There you go. Now that's what you want. Bye.